Okay, so the last video that we did about steering generated some questions, and it's difficult for a new driver coming into this industry because the bus feels like such a strange animal. It doesn't behave like a lighter vehicle, like a car or a van, and sometimes it's difficult to understand what the instructor wants of you, how he wants you to drive the vehicle, the mistakes that you're making, why they're happening. We know that we're making the mistakes, we can see when we hit the curbs, we know when we're not stopping smoothly, but why are these mistakes happening? I'm just going to have a little look at some of that and try and explain it to you. Try and take away some of the mystery surrounding driving a heavy bus or coach. The first thing I want to say is, contrary to popular belief, the art of driving the vehicle well isn't being able to steer around tight corners. You learn within the first couple of weeks how the vehicle steers, and as long as you're slow enough and you slow the bus down, sometimes even you have to stop on a very tight corner to allow yourself time to adjust the steering. And that's fine, you can do that. You know, some corners are so tight, especially around old towns like Richmond or places like Chiswick. You need to almost stop the vehicle to get around. Car drivers behind you won't understand that. They won't understand why you've slowed down so much, because you've got to do so much work with the steering. But the art of driving the bus really is the ability to hold it straight. As I've said before, the vehicle wanders, it catches the wind like a giant sail, it wanders with the camber of the road. It's inherently unstable, it's travelling in air suspension, so there's a constant bounce to smooth out the ride for the passengers. But the art really is keeping the vehicle straight. And when I drive, the way I envisage the path of the vehicle is I try and keep it as straight as possible and only steer when I have to. So I'll show you what I mean by that. If we're driving down a road and we've got lots of things going on, lots of meeting situations, parts, vehicles, and even perhaps oncoming traffic. Yeah? We're going to have to adjust our driving line to get through this situation. Yeah? And sometimes it seems like the trainee visualises this, or their driving line goes something like this. They come out quite late for the parked vehicle, they go over to the opposite side of the road, they come back quite late, they come in a bit too much, then again they come out quite late for the other vehicle. So their driving line, the path that the vehicle takes, is like a series of gentle, wide curves. Yeah, and that's okay. I mean, when you're learning to drive, it's difficult to handle the steering sometimes, and as long as the steering is not too sharp, if you do travel a little bit wide over the white line or whatever, that's okay. But if you've got oncoming vehicles, that can start to become a problem because it means you're encroaching too much on their side of the road. The way I see it in my mind is like this. I imagine that I'm travelling along here, and I want to get out early. So, I'm coming out a lot earlier. I'm trying to be straight as I pass this vehicle. Yeah? So it's like I'm coming out and then getting the vehicle straight. If there's an oncoming vehicle that needs my help, I'm going to come in and I'm going to try and get the vehicle straight. I'm going to go out. Once that oncoming vehicle has passed me, come out early and straight. And just keep the vehicle straight as we pass the next parked vehicle. So you can see the way I'm visualising it is come out early, straight, in, straight, out early and straight. Yeah? That's the path that I'm imagining in my head. I'm not imagining the series of gentle curves that takes me too wide past parked vehicles. Yeah? Now, the danger with that is, if I try and get a new driver to do that, the steering becomes quite abrupt, quite jerky, and they'll come out and they'll straighten quite abruptly. I want you to try and maintain this path, but the steering must be smooth. I don't want any sharp steering. Yeah? Just come out early, straighten the bus, straighten the steering smoothly. Keep it straight as we go past the parked vehicle. Come in early, but again, smooth with the steering. Yeah? No sharp movements. Because remember, you can make the passengers fall over their seat or fall over just by tugging the steering wheel, because that sideways action of the bus turning, if it's abrupt, can make people fall over as well as just, you know, pressing the brake too heavily. So that's the path that I want you to imagine. The other thing is the controls have a delay on them. If you've never driven a very heavy vehicle before, it's quite surprising how long it takes to accelerate and stop. All our vehicles are automatic, and when you press the brake pedal from anything more than, say, 15-20 miles an hour, the initial touch on the brake pedal engages the retarder. The retarder is a device that works on the transmission. It slows the vehicle down without putting too much wear on the brakes, and the moment you touch the brake pedal, just the point where the brake lights come on, the retarder engages. The retarder doesn't really work below 10 miles an hour. It works better at high engine speeds. As the engine slows down, it isn't really effective. But initially when you press the brake pedal, you've got the retarder engaging. Now, if you're very smooth with the brake pedal, the next thing that will happen is the gearbox will start to change down from third gear to second gear. Yeah, so we've got engine braking coming in as well. And if you're doing the process correctly, the last thing that will happen is the actual wheel brakes will start to engage themselves. So we've got the retarder working, we've got the gearbox changing down, and then we've got the wheel brakes taking effect. That's why we like to brake early, to give that process time to happen smoothly. If you go straight on the brake pedal and you go to the point where the brakes engage straight away, you've got the retarder coming in, you've got the gearbox perhaps changing down if it's near the point where it wants to change gear, and you've got the brakes coming in at the same time, and that's what gives you an abrupt stop, or it makes the vehicle slow down abruptly. Yeah? And that's, as a passenger, if you've been on a bus where the driver's braking abruptly, that's probably what's happening. He's coming off the gas pedal, going straight into the brake pedal. The engine is still spinning quite quickly. As soon as he touches that brake pedal, the retarder quite sharply, because the engine's at high revs. The gearbox changes down if it's near a gearbox change point, and the brakes come at the same time, and that's what gives you that abrupt slowing down. So that's what I mean about delay with the controls, that the whole process has a delay to it, so we have to brake early to brake smoothly. Yeah? In the same way when you're accelerating, if you're coming up to a steep hill, think about the weight of the vehicle, try and get on the gas pedal early, try and build some speed to get you up the hill. So there is a definite delay on the controls. One more thing, we experienced this yesterday when we were driving on the motorway. I did a little talk about it. But when you're changing lanes on a motorway or dual carriageway, just be aware that we never want to change lanes abruptly or quickly for one very good reason. So, just imagine we're travelling in lane 1, we want to go into lane 2. We use the mirror signal procedure. So check our mirrors, signal, and then start to adjust our position. I like my trainees to take about 4 seconds to carry out that manoeuvre. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, and leave the signal on until you're established in lane 2. Don't cancel the signal early. There's a reason for that. If there's a vehicle travelling quickly behind you, and if you've misjudged the speed of that vehicle, if you come over gradually, that vehicle then has 4 seconds to adjust its speed, to slow down. Because your process is taking 4 seconds, they've got 3 or 4 seconds to adjust their speed, so there's less chance of a collision. If it's raining heavily, unlike in a car where the wheels and tyres are quite small, the bus is generating so much spray, a bus or a lorry is generating so much spray that what can happen is when the driver looks in their mirror, they can't see the car coming up behind them even if the headlights are on, because it's generating so much spray. I had this situation about 10 years ago with a trainee on the A41 just outside Hemel Hempstead. We were going along and we were generating so much spray that when we started to change lanes, there was a car without its headlights on behind us. And as we started to come over, the car just appeared through the spray and we had to cancel the maneuver and come back to the left. Yeah? Because the car was travelling quite quickly in the rain and we just simply couldn't see it through the spray. So that's why we changed lanes gradually. The other reason, as I've said before, is if there's a vehicle in lane 3 and we're moving from lane 1 to lane 2 and the vehicle's moving from lane 3 to lane 2, also, if we come over gradually, that vehicle then again has 3 or 4 seconds to see what we're doing and avoid us. That's why when we check our mirrors, we're not just looking at the lane that's next to us, we're also looking into the far lane as well, just to make sure as we're going for that bit of road, there isn't a faster vehicle also going for the same piece of road.